with me, now with me. No distance between us anymore. Now what I've done, but what you did, the cross has brought us together forever.
But yeah.
Spirit of God, strengthen me. Here in your love and awaken me. How deep your love, how wide it is, how high it reaches for me. How deep your love, how wide it is, how high it reaches for me. May I know Christ, this is my prayer. Found in your love, here I will stay. May I know Christ, this is my prayer. Found in your love, here I will stay. Spirit of God, strengthen me.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. Today I've got a real special guest, a brother who I've known since I was very young, and I've known his kids too. I played ball hockey with his son Mark and Mike when we were young, and they're just excellent fellas. And I'm going to just tell you a little bit about his family before Gary starts into his testimony and telling us about his life. His son Mike Miller has just recently started a brand new church plant in Halifax, and it's called Nova Church, and it's just going great guns for the Lord. It's just doing an absolutely amazing work in downtown Halifax, and Gary's going to tell us a little bit about that later on. His son Mark, who had a wicked shot too when we were kids, man, he had quite a shot. You know, we were playing ball hockey. He is now a major part of the Billy Graham Evangelistic Society. Is that what it's known as now?
Evangelistic Association.
Association, sorry. And so he's a major part of that right here in Nova Scotia and the Maritimes, and probably throughout Canada. He does an awful lot of traveling again.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and then there's Shondalee and his daughter, just a wonderful girl. And I've known her since high school as well. And Gary's got a lot to thank God for today. And the reason that I asked him to be on the show is he and his wife have had quite a story to tell, a testimony of faith in God that, you know, just hasn't been a celebration of easy times or good times, but it's been through hard times at times. And I just wanted him to share a little bit about that today. And not to mention, I wanted him to share a little bit about his entrepreneurial spirit. And I think if you know Gary, you know he's a businessman who the Lord has blessed. And we just want to encourage young people who are feeling the same heart about going into business to not be afraid. And it's funny that when Gary came in today, he shared a few scriptures from Isaiah chapter 41, I think, and they had to do with fear. And fear is an awful powerful thing if you give into it. And I just think he's got a lot to share. And young folks especially who feel, well, full-time ministry isn't necessarily for me. They know that in their heart, even though they're excited about God, they're born-again Christians. Well, you know something? There's something God has for you. And while you're going to be an awesome part and an awesome member of the church, God can still do an amazing and powerful thing through you in business and in day-to-day work, Gary.
Exactly.
And so Gary's just going to first share a little bit with us today about his life. Gary, where are you from?
From a small fishing community just outside of Halifax, Sambro.
Okay.
Grew up in a normal home.
Yeah.
Normal as being poor.
Yeah.
Mom and dad had one sister.
Yeah.
Lived a quiet life.
Okay.
Things didn't start out too good for me. I made a mistake right from day one.
Yeah.
And that was at age 15, I got expelled in school.
Okay.
I was expelled for 1 week. I remember very clearly. It was on a Tuesday, and by Friday I had a job. And I never went back.
You're going to encourage folks to get expelled here. If we're not careful, you go ahead.
Anyway, I went to work at age 15. I was not overly happy in the environment that I was in as much as I did not want to be a fisherman.
Yeah.
I wanted to succeed in life. I've always believed there was a God. I always believed in Jesus.
Yeah.
But I also didn't need him.
Yeah.
I'm capable.
Yeah.
And that was a big mistake.
Yeah.
Scripture does tell us, seek ye first the kingdom of God.
Yeah.
I didn't do that.
Yeah.
And in 1965, I met a lady that would become my wife, Hilda.
Yes.
We have been married for 55 years.
Wow.
And just the other day we were talking and we say, where has the time gone?
Yeah.
Met her in 65, got married in 1966.
Yeah.
Chandelier, our daughter, first child, came along in 1970.
Yeah.
1969, just going back a year, I landed a job in sales where I stayed for 27 years.
Wow.
During that period of time, I still had this entrepreneurial drive
Yes.
to succeed.
Yeah.
I did something that was extremely good
Yeah.
business-wise, but extremely bad otherwise.
Okay.
1972, I designed, built, owned, and operated a nightclub in the city of Halifax.
Yeah. Wow.
During my regular job and this, it consisted of 100 hours work a week, 7 days a week.
Oh boy.
I'd get home at 5 o'clock, go to the nightclub at 7,
Yeah.
packing in at 12 or 1 in the morning. And I did that for 6 days a week. On Sunday was paperwork time.
Yeah.
During that period of time, after 3 years, it took a very serious toll on our marriage.
Sure.
Things were not good. They were bad. And I remember Hilda saying to me, all she wanted out of life was a very simple family life.
Yeah.
I wasn't giving that to her. She decided she had to do some soul searching to see if we were going to stay together. She leaves and goes to Newfoundland to visit her brother, who had 3 young daughters, all around the same age of Chandelier, which was roughly 5 years.
Yeah.
And also during that period of time, we had our son Michael, which was roughly a year old, or just a very, not more than a year old,
Yeah.
a young child.
Yeah.
So she took the two children and she went to Newfoundland.
Okay.
I looked back and said, what am I going to do? I didn't know Jesus, not even considering it. I was just a workaholic. And also after 3 years, I started drinking very, very heavy. So while she was away, I decided I'm going to sell the nightclub. I looked upon that as a very simple thing to do. It was new, it was profitable,
Yeah.
and I was very well connected. I was going to sell.
Yeah.
It didn't. One night, I was in my office about 10 o'clock in the evening, and Hilda phones me. And she said, what are you doing? I told her. She said, are you having any success with selling the nightclub? I said, no. I was trying hard. I wanted to salvage our marriage. Anyway, she said, sit down. I got something I have to tell you. She said, we have a health issue with our daughter, Shonda Lee, but she's going to be okay.
Yeah.
She said, we're at the campsite and all the kids were playing around, and Shonda Lee ate one little lobster leg, and immediately she had a tremendous reaction. Her face just blew out. They got her in the vehicle,
Yes.
and they were racing to Stephenville to the nearest hospital.
Yes.
While they proceeded up the highway, they came across an accident with the RCMP having the road blocked. And I'm told that during this period of time, Shonda Lee was all over the place, with not peaceful difficulty in breathing.
Yes.
The Mountie told her, we'll let you through, and the doctor has just left there to go into his office in Stephenville Crossing.
Okay.
So as they got through and went to find the doctor,
Yeah.
Shonda Lee again was all over the place. Hilda said, I cried out to God and said, God, she is all that I have. Please save her life. And I'll make you a promise that I will find you and that I will serve you the rest of my days.
Amen.
She said immediately, she said a peace came into that vehicle. And she said I couldn't understand it. So she said, the good news is I'm coming home. And she said, I'm going to find God.
Yes.
So I hung up the phone.
Yeah.
Now, what am I going to do? So being the smart guy that I am, I found a solution.
Yeah.
I'm going to burn the place down tonight. I got up and I went to all the pictures on my wall.
Yeah.
People that I've met,
Yeah.
the Fifth Dimension singing group, Johnny Cash, many people that I had associated with and met many times.
Yes.
While I was doing that, one of my staff members about 10 o'clock comes in, said, Gary, your friend Al is here and he wants to talk to you.
Yeah.
Al comes in and he says, I heard a rumor today, and that rumor is that you want to sell your nightclub.
Yeah.
I said, Al, it's not a rumor. It's true.
Yeah.
I want to sell the club.
Yeah.
He said, I'm serious.
Yeah.
We sat down with pencil and paper in hand. We did all the details. I answered all of his questions. I bought out the leasing. I checked the inventory. We put it all together to the best of our ability.
Yeah.
And then I said to him, I have to go to Newfoundland because of my daughter, and I want to be with my family.
Yeah.
I said, my lawyer will get a hold of your lawyers.
Yeah.
The next morning, I'm up early. I go to my lawyer. I turn over all the paperwork. And I said, Bill, contact Al's lawyer and work it out.
Yeah.
That afternoon, I fly to Newfoundland and I'm back with my family.
Yeah.
We spend some time there until Shonda Lee got physically fit
Yes.
to travel back.
Yeah.
And just a footnote after the fact, it took about 2 to 3 years to get her straightened out. She was in and out of the hospital for allergy-related things. While I'm down there for a number of days, my lawyer phones me. He said, Gary, you no longer own a nightclub.
Oh,
It's been sold. All your bills has been paid, and there's surplus in your account.
yeah. Oh, boy.
What a relief.
I'll bet.
However, we come back home. The first thing Hilda does, she said, I'm going to find God.
Yeah.
Just what I need at this time. So the first thing she does, she books a cabin
Yeah.
in Mahone Bay. Because of my drinking, she would not let me drive them down. She drove herself.
Yeah.
She comes back after a week, and I'm back and forth,
Yeah.
and she does not find God. She went to the Catholic Church. She went to the United Church. She grew up Anglican.
Yeah.
And the different churches, she did not find what she was looking for. And I could be wrong in saying this, but a lot of the people she met had as many problems as she did.
Yeah.
They did not project the joy of the Lord. Another little side note, we lived in a newer subdivision, and right next door to us on the corner was an older gentleman by the name of Carl Stevens. And he was a painting contractor, not painting your pictures, but
Yeah.
painting your walls.
Yes.
Soft gentleman, a very fine person.
Yeah.
And during Chandeli's sickness, his wife would babysit when we had doctor's appointments.
Yeah.
And Carl had a son with a couple young children who lived in his basement apartment.
Yeah.
And the family invited Chandeli to Sunday school. So when she got a little bit better, she went to Sunday school on a Sunday morning, came back full of joy.
Wow.
She said, Mommy, you gotta come to Sunday school. So to keep peace in the family, Hilda said, I'll go with you next Sunday.
Yeah.
And sure enough, next Saturday afternoon, Mommy, you're going to church with me tomorrow.
Yeah.
So Hilda went the next day,
Yeah.
very small church in our area. She got there, Chandeli went to the lower level Sunday school.
Yeah.
Hilda goes up to the top level.
Yeah.
And the first thing she feels is the presence and the peace that she felt in that car back in Newfoundland
Wow.
when she cried out to God.
Wow.
They came back, Hilda had a big smile on her face.
Yeah.
And the first thing out of Chandeli, Mommy cried in church today.
That's a good thing.
So I don't know how to cope with this.
Yeah.
Her attitude, Hilda's attitude
Yeah.
in life and with me
Yeah.
was a dramatic change.
Amen.
The interesting thing, and I hope Hilda doesn't watch this because she's saying I'm giving her testimony. So anyway, there was a dramatic change. And our life has been full of all these little different stories. Here's another one.
Yeah.
We had friends for many, many years. And one was a brother and sister. They both were married, had kids. And they were in Cape Breton one weekend, and they were partying it up. Let's call her Heather.
Sure.
Heather's brother was going to study to be a priest,
Okay.
and they were partying up and they were drinking.
Yeah.
And the brother said to Heather, I hear something happened to Hilda and Gary. What's going on? They sold their business. And Heather said, yes. And I guess the latest is they've accepted the Lord.
Yeah.
And when she said that, there was a dampness went over that party.
Yeah.
And he looked at her and said, the party's over. The next day, Sunday afternoon,
Yeah.
Hilda was out walking with the kids.
Yeah.
Heather's brother and wife and family drove up the street and stopped. Spoke to Hilda. What happened to you?
Yeah.
So Hilda shared a little bit. He said, can you come to our house tonight?
Yeah.
So we both go up and visit them. Long story short, The small church that we were in, Heather, her brother,
Yeah.
other people,
Yeah.
I don't think I'm exaggerating a bit.
Yeah.
Within months, maybe 10 to 15 people or more came forward and accepted the Lord.
Wow.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Hilda accepted the Lord in October. But the change, I couldn't understand what was happening to her.
Wow.
It overwhelmed me. I want to question. I want to figure everything out.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm not going to stop now. I didn't do too good in the past, but I got to know about this. I got to do research.
Yeah.
During this period of time, from October till December,
Yeah.
Hilda's going to church every Sunday.
Yeah.
I didn't go. But our next door neighbors were putting on a retreat at Oak Island Inn, and they wanted Hilda to go down as one of the chaperones for the girls.
Yeah.
She did,
Yeah.
and the way it was set up, bottom floor was all girls with female chaperones, upstairs was all boys with male. I went along and I seen certain things that happened with adult chaperones that literally had a big influence. We came back, it was between Christmas and New Year's, and this was the Sunday following Christmas. Major snowstorm in Halifax, and they were having their closing rally. I went to that rally, and I accepted the Lord.
Wow. Amen.
And this was in December 27th of 1975.
Yes.
And it's been a roller coaster ride ever since. And I look back,
Yeah.
I believe, like I told you earlier, I believe in God. I believe in Jesus, but I don't need them. Because that is just history. Is God alive today? Good question. But I've had opportunities and situations that have opened up to me that I could never, in my wildest dreams, expect to happen.
Yes. Before we slip into what's going to be sort of a whole different facet of Gary telling us about how the Lord is about to open up doors, really, for him. I just want to let you know that one of the most amazing things about him is his willingness to say yes to the Lord when the Lord asks him to do something. And I think you're going to see the results of that in this, what's going to be next week's show. Gary's going to tell us about his life of obedience to God in small things that somehow expanded into successful things, and how the Lord is still doing amazing things in his life today in an entrepreneurial way. I mean, I don't know that anything he's going to tell us is going to be better than this week's show. That was just amazing, brother. That was beautiful.
The faithfulness of God.
Amen. And now we're just going to see other things added to this incredible decision that changed it just changed the course of his family's life. So I'm going to ask you to join us again next week for the second part of this interview, when Gary just expands on telling us more and more about how God is so faithful and good to both him and his family. Hopefully we'll see you again next week.
Well, I said, wonderful. I said, by the way, Reverend Billy Graham is coming to Halifax.
Yeah.
He smiles and he looks at me. He said, never mind.
Yeah.
Politics and religion don't mix. Well, I said, they should. Let's talk about it.
Awesome.
Okay.
I mean, his testimony, guys,